A hands-on look at 20 plus new features found in iOS 11 Beta 2. In iOS 11, where it shows recent apps in your dock on your iPad, you now have the option of disabling the recents. So if you don't like these apps showing up there, if you want to keep fine-grained control over what appears in your dock, you can now remove that. All you need to do is head over to the Settings app here, go to General, under Multitasking, you'll see a new Show Recents option. So you just flick that switch off, and now when you go back to view the dock, notice the recents are no more. In iOS 11 Beta 2, the Maps app has a new flyover feature that is sort of like an AR implementation of flyover. So it's not the guided tour that we're used to, because it actually uses your device's onboard sensors like the accelerometer, so that when you move the iPad, for instance, you can actually see out into the distance. You can move up, down, left, right, and see all the different buildings and whatnot in the scene. Apple's Maps app has been upgraded to allow a small subset of indoor maps. So for instance, certain malls and things of that nature and airports, you now have indoor maps. You can go in, view the exact layouts, and even jump around to different levels based on how many floors are in that particular building. I love the new screenshot functionality in iOS 11, and now in Beta 2, you can long press on the screenshot and share directly, just like that. Once buried down in the accessibility settings, you'll now find a new Press for Siri option directly under Siri and Search in the Settings app. So this makes it so that you can disable the press on the home button to invoke Siri, and instead, you'll need to utilize Hey Siri to invoke your assistant. There's a new one-handed keyboard preference now under the Settings General Keyboard section. Now you can enable or disable the one-handed keyboard directly from the Settings app. In Beta 2, there's a new bolder date on the calendar app icon, and you'll notice a new Safari settings panel for experimental features. So all you need to do is go into Safari's preferences, go down to where it says Advanced, tap that, and then you should see experimental features. Sounds interesting, right? Well, there's lots of new features you can go in there and experiment with if you choose to do so, primarily aimed at web developers. There's also new long press tab options that allow you to close just the tab you're looking at and to open up a new private tab. And for those of you rocking a smaller iPhone, you'll be happy to know that the Landscape Safari tab interfaces is now available on smaller devices. There's also an updated Control Center music widget that shows the playback source, so you can see iPhone there. And speaking of Control Center, the Do Not Disturb While Driving Control Center toggle now works. So let's take it for a test drive. First of all, you're going to find new D&D while driving preferences in the Settings app. So if you go down to Do Not Disturb, you scroll down there, you'll see a new heading, Do Not Disturb While Driving. Under that, Activate. So you can activate this feature automatically. It'll actually know when you're moving in a car based on the detected motion. You can do so when connected to a car Bluetooth, or you can choose to do so manually. You can also set up auto reply to, so if you want to reply to no one when they send you a text, or to recents, or to favorites, or everyone, you can do so. And then you can also customize the auto reply. There's a canned message that's already in there, but you can go in and customize it to your liking. All right. So let's test this out. I'm going to enable Do Not Disturb while driving, and it's going to automatically suppress notifications so that I'm not distracted while I drive. So I'm going to send myself a test message here. How are you? And look, the reply I get the canned reply, as you can see there. And then it also says, hey, I'm not receiving notifications, but if this is urgent, reply urgent. So I'm going to test that out, of course. So send it urgent, and it's going to automatically push through the last message that I sent. Bam, just like that. Simple, right? So if someone really needs to get in touch, they can still do so. And Siri also respects Do Not Disturb while driving. You'll see a little car logo indicating to you that you're not going to receive any sort of text feedback, only audible feedback. The panel formerly known as Frequent Locations has now been changed. So if you go to Settings, you go to Privacy, you go to Location Services, and then you go to System Services, you're going to see that it's now labeled Significant Locations instead of Frequent Locations. On Beta 2, I find that messages on iCloud, unlike Beta 1, actually does sync now, but it still doesn't work completely, so stay tuned for updates on that. Another small change in Beta 2 is that you can now add legacy document providers to the Files app. You couldn't do that in the previous beta. In Beta 2, UI Table View now has a new system gesture for quickly entering edit mode, so you no longer have to press the edit button, just use a two-finger tap like that. You go directly into edit mode like that, two-finger tap. Simple, right? In Beta 2, the Echo Messages app animation, the full screen effect, now features, orange bubbles instead of blue. Beta 2 also brings updated search results in the Apple Music app, so It breaks it down into things like people, albums, and songs. Makes it easier to target exactly what you're looking for. The Details button in the Photos app has been replaced with an Edit button, so to jump right into editing mode, just tap Edit in the upper right-hand corner. And instead of Save to iCloud Drive, there's a new Save to Files app option in the Share sheet. And here's something really cool. You can drag and drop multiple items in the Photos app on the iPhone. So I can select multiple items, tap over to an album, and drop those photos directly in the album, all from my iPhone. In Beta 2, the Control Center preferences have been updated to bring back the access within apps that is on previous versions of iOS, and it also places the customized Control Center toggles in its own preference panel. And there's a new handy AirPlay button on the lock screen music controls that opens up this little guy right here that allows you to control your music output. And if you never plan on using your iPhone's camera to scan QR codes, you can now disable that option from the camera preferences. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a look at some of the features found in iOS 11 Beta 2. Have you found any additional ones? Sound off down below in the comments. This is Jeff with 9to5Mac.